The Green City Startup is an initiative of the City of Joburg, which encourages green entrepreneurs to develop ideas in building, energy, water and transport, and waste. This is the Green City Startup Show. On the show this week, we learn about the history of the Confidence Reef in Cloofendal. We receive expert advice from Angela. We also attend the unveiling of an OR Tambo monument. Plus, the co-founder of Dr. and Mrs. Adrian Hugo is on the big interview. Hello and welcome to the Green City Startup. My name is Mokhaetwa Masamola, and as per usual on today's show, we will provide much needed information for all Green City startups. Make sure you always stay connected with us through our social media pages. Our Facebook page is The Green City Startup, and on Twitter we are at The GC Startup. That is where you can go to get all your latest updates on entrepreneurial information. The Confidence Reef mine in Region C's Cloofendal was discovered in 1884, and it remains a unique part of the reserve to this day. The history of this historic mine is a fascinating one, so take a look.
I'm Rod Kruger and I'm the historian at Cloofendal Nature Reserve. The park exists because gold was found here back in 1884-85. We're going to go and have a look at the gold mine just now. The mine itself, very much surface. Gold was being brought to the surface then by volcanic action, and it had settled, and then it had been hugely disturbed at a later date. Years ago, when this gold was discovered in Cloofendal, it was discovered by the Geldenhuys family. They had been prospecting up in Eastern Transvaal, and they came to see if there was anything on their property. And they got hold of two brothers living in Pretoria by the name of Struben. And the Strubens came here to have a look and see whether they could find anything of value. And what they found was a small reef running through this area, which they named the Confidence Reef, because they were confident they were going to get very rich very quickly, which in fact didn't work out quite the way they said it would. A lot of gold was left on the surface. In fact, Fred Struben in his diary says he was finding a grain of gold for every grain of sand, but it didn't run to depth, and after about 50 meters the gold had run out. But it was a link between the people prospecting and finding of the main reef in 1886 in what would become Johannesburg in those years. As far as mining is concerned, the mining was very, very primitive. It was done by hand chiseling holes into the walls, drilling holes for dynamite. Then dynamite would be placed into these holes, and everybody would get out of here very quickly, and they would light the fuses, and the dynamite would explode and blow the rock out. So once they had blasted the rock out, they would then clean it up with pick and shovel. To this day you can still see the marks of the picks on the walls, beautifully shaped. Tunnels done by professionals. It would not collapse. There's no wood in these mines, and the tunnels have stood all these 140 years. Gold-bearing ore was taken down by ox wagon to a stamp mill, which the Struben brothers had bought from England and brought over here, and there it was reduced into powder and run over copper plates. It's a very crude process, and a lot of the gold went to waste. In fact, one of the reasons why our modern mine dumps are being reworked was to reclaim the gold that these people had wasted. But the gold was run over copper plates and then retorted, and gold was taken from that. So I'm sitting here at the end of the Confidence Reef. Here is the where they were digging the gold out, the end of the reef. You can see the pick marks quite clearly on the wall, but there is no gold left at all. They have really cleared these mines thoroughly. The Strubens soon found that the gold didn't go to any depth. And other things were happening. The main reef had been discovered in 1886, and they moved on from these places at that time. Today, the park exists because of the mines. When the city of Roodepoort was developing the area for housing, the ladies at the Roodepoort Museum became very active in trying to save these mines. And the result was that this park was proclaimed as a public area in 1978. It was set up in two sections. There's an amphitheatre at the bottom where they hold public plays and shows, and then the nature reserve itself which contains large amounts of small animals. And we have a lot of tours. We have a lot of small tours taking children and adults up to see birds and flowers and all sorts of things. And of course the gold mine here in the Kloofendal Nature Reserve.
Remember that you can always log on to our website, which is www.TheGreenCityStartup.co.za, to find so many more videos that can help green-focused entrepreneurs with all of your initiatives. And now here's Brandon with some very helpful hints and tips to help you become a successful entrepreneur.
With social media becoming oversaturated, it's tough to identify relevant content and more specifically credible sources. So let's talk about how to go about finding the right people to follow on social media with these tips from Cision. Firstly, start with who you already know. Existing and past customers, email contacts, and people you've networked with in the past are a good start. Remember to socially connect with these people shortly after your initial engagement so you can build a relationship through the relevant online channel. Secondly, look for social influencers. Connect with people who attract attention in your industry. They can help you to drive attention to your brand. A simple tweet or mention about your company from them can expose you to their followers. Next, follow relevant people who will share your content. Keep a lookout for people who are already talking about your brand and the content you share. If they fit the profile of people relevant to your company, give them a follow. Finally, and I say it all the time, utilize those hashtags. Once you've identified hashtags that your audience is using, spend some time focusing on updates using them. This is a great way to find people or companies to follow. Hashtags can also be used to attract more people to follow you. So in short, start with who you already know, connect with social influencers, follow relevant people who will share your content, and finally, leverage those hashtags. That's all from me. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at The Green City Startup and on Twitter at The GC Startup. Join the conversation. Until next time, remember, keep focused.
The ability to learn from others is one surefire way for entrepreneurs to succeed. So here's our weekly Talking with Tutors segment.
Hello, my name is Linda Lindani and welcome to Talking with Tutors. Today we have Ntsiki. Ntsiki, tell us, how do we conduct surveys?
So when you conduct a survey, you write up a series of questions relating to your business and your product and what you're trying to solve, and you literally go out into the community or where you'll be providing the service and you start asking people questions. If you are very tech savvy, you can do an automated survey and sort of send out SMSs or send out an email or even use other survey platforms that allow you to get responses from people.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of questions should I be asking?
Well, based on your business, you really want to go out and find out if people think the problem you're trying to solve is a real problem. Ask people, would they use this product? Would they use this particular service? Do they think this is actually a problem? How would they solve the problem? Those kinds of things. And then you also want to ask questions relating to the actual service. So where people would like to access it and how much they'd be prepared to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. And when I have the results, how do I use them?
So based on what your business is, the idea, the product, the service, you then look at the results that you received and see if they actually match what you're trying to do. So if you have identified a particular problem and everybody you ask doesn't think it's a problem, then maybe you should adjust your business, right? And maybe if you were planning on providing the solution in the city and people want it closer to home or at a higher price or a lower price, you can then make those adjustments to make your solution fit more to the market you want to serve.
All right. And now how do I evaluate whether my business is valid or not?
I think that's all based on the problem. So really looking at the solution you have. So when you're saying, okay, this is the problem I want to solve and this is the business that's going to solve it, if you create this product or service, will it actually take away the problem? And I think sometimes people get caught up in this really great idea that doesn't really link up directly to solving that particular solution. So what you look at is, does the product or service actually link up to the problem the community is having?
Now tell us, how do we identify challenges in our businesses and in our ideas?
The best way to identify challenges is to sit down with people, really just allow them to criticize the idea and be open-minded. So look at everything that you plan on doing, the idea, how you're going to implement it, where you're going to implement it, who you're going to be working with, and so forth. And have people, just sort of pick at it and change a few things. And by doing that, you'll be able to find the loopholes and really think around them and how you can solve them before they become big choking blocks.
All right, thank you so much, Nsiki. That was Nsiki, and thank you for joining us on Talking with Tutors.
Still to come on the show after the break, Inquisition gives us some expert entrepreneurial advice. We attend the unveiling of the OR Tambo monument, plus Adrian Hugo from Dr. and Mrs. is on the big interview. All of that is still to come after the break, so stay with us. Welcome back to the Green City Startup Show. Thank you so much for staying with us. Keep in touch with us through our social media pages for up-to-date information. Our Facebook page is The Green City Startup. Alternatively, you can find us on twitter.com @TheGC That is where you can go for all of your latest Green City Startup information. Next, our business mentor, Angela, with some expert entrepreneurial advice.
Hi, I'm Angela Ho, and it's my privilege to be your mentor. In this tutorial, I'm going to discuss a tool that will help you build a brand for your product. The milk carton exercise is a great format to allow you to think about all your brand elements, and with the limited space, force you to find the core messages you need to tell about your product or business. One can download the template from the web and then cut it out and follow the fold instructions. There are 5 things you need to think about for your milk carton project. The name of your business or product will be the first impression you make on your customer. It needs to stand out. Things to consider would be the length, size, color, and font. Also remember to find the most prominent place on your milk carton that will be the best position. Recognition. Consider how recognizable your brand is. Your name or logo or slogan needs to be easily identified by your customers. Take, for example, the icons that we identify with every day. Apple is unmistakable. So is the Coca-Cola Contra bottle. Personality. Your brand needs to have a personality. People need to be able to relate to it. Is it fun, serious? Does it speak to your customer, especially the ones you're trying to reach? Qualities and attributes. On your milk carton, list the key qualities or attributes of your product, service, or business. Remember, you need to be clear and concise and convey your message that you want your customers to get, as the space is very limited on your milk carton. Meaning, value, and connection. Make a connection with your audience. Back to the Coca-Cola example. We all know that Coca-Cola is refreshing. It's about fun and sharing with friends. How does your business connect with people, and how does it make their lives a little better? Your brand and logo will become the identity that your customers will learn to recognize, all about your company, your brand and products. Remember, people will come back and do business with brands that they know, like and trust. Also, a strong brand is more than just a logo and name. It's about everything that you do, from service, staff, product value, and customer satisfaction. Thank you for watching.
In this week's feature, we visit Johannesburg CBD to attend the unveiling of a memorial built in honor of the late Oliver Tambo. OR Tambo's son, Dali, was there to speak to us about the monument and its importance.
I wondered at times if this nation had forgotten Oliver Tambo. When the British ruled this country, they were extremely proud and brash and non-hesitant in implanting their culture, British cultural domination on our people, of putting up monuments to theirs. When the Afrikaners ruled, they did it with gusto. So we should never be timid about remembering what we've been through, where we came from, how we got here, and those who walked that journey with us. It is always a beautiful thing when he's remembered, because he was a beautiful man. He was a humble man. The famous artist Andy Warhol once said that heritage should be like a supermarket. You should go in there regularly for sustenance, for spiritual sustenance instead of for food. But it should be a place you go to on regular occasions to find yourself and to find that nutritional sustenance that will guide you and sustain you through life. I don't have great regrets that he didn't live to vote. I feel sad for him.
Oliver Tambo has not died because the ideals for which he sacrificed his life can never die. I say that Oliver Tambo has not died because the ideals of freedom, human dignity, and a colorblind respect for every individual cannot perish.
I myself am personally obsessed with heritage.
Tambo himself had a penchant for the arts with an illustrious career as a teacher and choir conductor at St. Peter's in the 1940s. This artwork, which we are launching today, is fittingly titled The Colossus. And indeed, Tambo was like a colossus, a giant in the struggle against apartheid. Today we are enjoying freedom and justice in South Africa, enabling us to transform our heritage landscape.
I love its originality. I love the materials that have been used. I always enjoy seeing this handsome face. Art has a massive place in heritage, I think, because it transcends that book that says Oliver Tambo was. It takes you to a different space, and your interaction with it, whether you're sitting on the benches here, climbing on top of it, or just walking past, I think it's a gift from the city to the people.
As the City of Johannesburg, we've taken Madiba's words into consideration, ensuring that the Tambo ideals are embraced in a liberated South Africa.
So it's a great pleasure these days to go around Johannesburg and see so many monuments to so many of our heroes. It's important that we remember that it wasn't one, it wasn't a few, it was many.
Up the road from here, there are a number of others. There's the statue of Walter and Albertina Sisulu as a loving couple near Diagonal Street.
The artwork on Tambo has been designed by Martin Fourie. The artwork consists of angled concrete plates with Tambo's face on the continent of Africa. The plates represent a turbulent past and all the fallen heroes who gave their lives for our freedom. The plates have been placed at the back of the artwork as they represent the past. The front part of the artwork represents a better and prosperous future for our city and our country. The poles symbolize the various countries which have made a contribution to the struggle against apartheid. They are painted in white, as there was always hope that apartheid will eventually be brought down, or rather brought to its knees.
We cherish that freedom and that we use it to improve the lives of our people. Mission number one and only. I feel privileged to have been his son.
The fact of having O.R. Tambo's son talking about family experiences and what it means to him made it a whole lot more personal.
The Colossus is indeed an iconic addition to our city's public art and brings more dignity to a space with a growing heritage material. We request our citizens to interact with this new public artwork and others in an effort to familiarize ourselves with the symbols of our struggle and our history.
Log on to our website, TheGreenCityStartup.co.za, for more interesting videos just like this one. There's plenty to keep you glued to your screen. For now though, Adrian Hugo founded his business Dr. and Mrs. with his wife Tita Statement in 2007. Together they run their bespoke furniture business in Braamfontein in Johannesburg. I sat down with Adrian Hugo on The Big Interview to find out more about their interesting work. Welcome to The Big Interview. Adrian Hugo is co-founder of the product design company Dr. and Mrs., which is based in Braamfontein, Johannesburg. He started the company together with his wife and business partner, Tita Statement, and Adrian joins us now on The Big Interview. Adrian, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Can you give us a quick recap of what exactly it is that you do?
So I design and manufacture products. I'm a product designer, and product design is all the man-made things surrounding you, those are products, and they have to be designed, and I'm one of the guys that design those things.
Do you think that the product design market in South Africa is generally a growing market?
Yes, we've seen since we started that there has been uptake in our products, and there's been a more of an awareness of South African products. Look, there is manufacturing challenges in this industry that it's quite hard to compete with. Sort of the advanced manufacturing of Europe, and then also the mass production of China. Those are the two kind of things we stuck in between. But we do have our own angle, and I think that there's been uptake locally in it and internationally. There's awareness of products coming out of the continent of Africa, if you want to call it that wide, and it's been great.
You started the business at 44 Stanley in Johannesburg, and then you moved to Braamfontein. Why make that particular move?
So 44 Stanley was our first little shop. It was literally 16 square meters, and the space forced us to move. We needed bigger things. I mean, we designed, we had bigger tables and things we had to show, and that made us move. It wasn't a sudden move though. We did keep the shop, and then had 44 Stanley open up Braamfontein. And the weird thing that happened at that point was people would come to 44 Stanley, we'll tell them at Braamfontein. And at some point, the changeover happened, and people would come to Braamfontein and said, "Oh, I saw you got a 44 Stanley shop as well." So at that point, we realized that shop was not needed, and we closed it.
Yeah. Do you think there's more of a market in Braamfontein?
We're a destination-based sort of company, based shop. Yeah. So people come to us specifically because they want it. So we don't have so many people just walking past, looking at it and buying. So, it's tricky. I think our market is not too much based on Braamfontein or 44 Stanley. It's more based in, say, in Joburg. Sure. People drive to us to get stuff.
Yeah. And speaking of Braamfontein, what do you think of the design culture in Braam?
I think there is quite an awareness of self-expression, like awareness of style, awareness of people just expressing themselves, and I think that's great. I mean, there's not a lot of product design happening, but you can see there's some great fashion people on the streets. People making music. There's always film crews on the street. There's a lot of stuff happening creatively, and I think that's a great energy there. When it comes to product design, I think there's still room for quite a lot to happen in Braamfontein.
There was another store that you opened in Cape Town with David West. How did that collaboration come about? So we met David. He showed some work up, some of his clothes up at Co-op, and we just had a conversation. And we said we wanted to move to Cape Town, and then I don't know how it came about, but his partner phoned us and said he's got the shop, and we just felt it was a great partnership between the two of us. Him bringing fashion and we bringing furniture to the space, and the energy that he had, and Elmi was his partner at that point. She had great energy to make it happen, and we just jumped into it and did it. It was the idea of also trying to see what Cape Town can offer, and what that market, how it would be. Sure. Do you have plans to open any more shops?
You know, at this point, not really, because things have changed more to e-commerce, and you know, I think that you always have to have one place when someone can come and touch your things and so on, and one shop is sufficient for that. You know, having more brick and mortar shops, your overheads go up tremendously, and you start to run shops and not design. We are a design company, and we design and manufacture, and that's our main thing. And we're not, the retail part at this point of our business is not, you know, like the shops are not our main focus.
Well, thank you for joining us on the big interview and sharing some, you know, much needed advice on running a successful product design company.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And that was Adrian Hugo on the big interview talking to us about running a successful design company. And that's it from us on the big interview. Next week on the Green City Startup, the competition progresses as we bring you more profiles, hints and tips from Brandon, and of course the big interview. Between now and then, you can stay in touch with us through our social media pages, all of which are on your screen right now. All good things must come to an end though, and so that's where we leave things for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.